In order to make a Pisco Sour, it does take a couple different pretty fun ingredients. One of the most important is the Pisco, which is the national drink of Peru, but it is also a liquor that you can find at most liquor stores in your area. You're gonna need simple syrup, which is just a mix of sugar and water heated up to dissolve the sugar into the water at a 1-to-1 ratio, some fresh squeezed lime juice, and a raw egg white, and then also some bitters to top with, and a cocktail shaker with ice in it. So in order to make it, you're gonna start with 2 ounces of your Pisco into the cocktail shaker. All right, 1, 2, that's in. All right, 1 ounce simple syrup. 3/4 to 1 ounce of your fresh squeezed lime juice. Key limes are preferable, those darling little key limes, but any fresh lime juice will work. And 1 whole egg white. This is what's gonna give it the beautiful frothy finish. You're then gonna get it into your cocktail shaker. Screw that lid on tight, make sure you got it ready to go, and shake it. Shake it real good. Really want to get that egg white frothy. When you think you've got it fully shaken up and that egg white nice and frothy, you'll just simply strain it into your highball glass. Ah, that looks fantastic. There we go. Garnish it with a couple drops of bitters. Give it a little swirl, and you are ready to go. Salud. Pisco is the national drink of Peru. The Spanish conquistadors brought European grapes to South America in the middle of the 16th century. They had so much extra fruit and wine that they started distilling all of that extra wine into other alcoholic beverages. One of these came to be called Pisco, and it's actually named after the Peruvian port where it was distributed. Pisco is technically a type of brandy, which is a spirit that's distilled from wine or other fermented fruit juice. In order to be considered a Peruvian Pisco, it has to be made in one of the 5 denominations of origin regions. Just similar to how champagne is only called champagne if it's from the Champagne region. It can only be called Pisco if it's from one of these 5 special regions. The neat thing about Pisco is that all of them must be distilled in a single proofing in copper pots and then rested in neutral containers like glass or steel. So Pisco itself is very pure. It never gets added flavor from wood barrels or second distillation. The Flying Longhorns visit Peru each year on our Wonders of Peru trip. This is one of my favorite trips because of the different highlights along the way. It starts out with 2 nights in Lima, Peru, then goes on for 3 nights on the Amazon River on a chartered riverboat. After 2 nights in the Sacred Valley, the group goes up for 1 overnight up at Machu Picchu and then ends up with 2 nights in Cusco. Your Amazon River cruise is on a beautifully chartered riverboat, and the size of this riverboat lets you go way up into the different tributaries to really see different wildlife. I remember before I went to the Amazon, I kind of thought that every day would be fairly similar, that you'd be seeing a lot of the same things, and maybe if you weren't a real wildlife enthusiast, it would get redundant. I was so surprised to discover that every day is absolutely different. One day you're doing a jungle hike, maybe a village visit. You might be swimming in a blackwater lake. You're seeing pink dolphins. You're even going piranha fishing and kayaking. So every day you have a new adventure that awaits you. Every day you head out from the main riverboat in these small motorized boats called skiffs, which take you even further up the tributaries of the Amazon to see the wildlife such as sloths and toucans and lots of different snakes and spiders as well. Here you can see an example of a village marketplace set up for shopping. You do a school visit as well to interact with locals. And on the jungle hike, you might even be able to see giant tarantula spiders. From there, the group goes up into the Sacred Valley, and as you can see, the culture and the topography is very different than down in the Amazon. You get a chance to interact with the locals and also see how they use the alpaca fur to create some of their beautiful woolen products. The group takes an incredibly beautiful and elegant train up from the Sacred Valley area up to Machu Picchu. And once they're up there, they have a full guided tour of the Machu Picchu site. You spend the better part of the day with your guide, walking around the ruins. This is one of those sites that everyone has seen before, whether on television or in photos or magazines. And when you're there in person, it absolutely exceeds all of your expectations. The group stays in one of my favorite hotels in the world, the Inca Terra Machu Picchu Pueblo Hotel. It's located right at the foot of Machu Picchu, nestled in the jungle. You hear the roaring river nearby, and it's an incredibly cozy place to come back to relax and have a Pisco Sour after you've been hiking around Machu Picchu all day. The trip ends in Cusco, a beautiful Spanish colonial town located high in the Andes. It's known for its incredible Spanish architecture, and our group stays at a beautiful colonial hotel property as well there as they wrap up their trip.